places. That didn't work. I tell you, you guys are scared. You're scared of outsourcing jobs. You're scared of the Mexicans and got to put up a wall. Scared of everything, man. We're just scared. We're living in fear. And you know what? Those of you that are uneducated have every right to be fearful because your life has no future.
He suffers visions of grandeur.
WA4D. College grads only, please.
They're scaredy cats because they have no education. Therefore, they're existing in the life of ignorance.
Well, who's going to hire somebody without a degree these days? Nobody.
Well, you're right. You know how most college graduates greet each other. Get a little tongue-tied here. Get too far ahead of myself. Is welcome to McDonald's. How can I serve you?
Yeah, you might work at the coffee house, and that's about it.
Yeah, with an undergraduate degree, I agree. That's the way it's supposed to be. So there's really two classes of there's college grads that don't get much of a job. Then there are guys like you that have no job at all. And then there are guys like me that had graduate degrees that worked plenty and long. So that's right. You guys are at the bottom of the heap.
If I know your history correctly, which I probably don't, you got your degree after you've been working because your employer sent you to school to educate you.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, Bob. If you knew anything about education in the workplace, you would know about that. Actually, they paid for my about 2/3 of my graduate degree.
Yeah, well, you see, you think you're the only one who's ever benefited from that. I did.
I didn't say I was. I didn't say that. You said it. I didn't say I was the only one. But Bob, you don't even have an undergraduate degree. And most of these guys, name 5 people on here that have undergraduate degrees. Bob, hurry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go.
Well, I tell you, when you're out in the desert, you know, somewhere between Wickenburg and Phoenix, and you've got a rental car, okay, and you have a flat tire.
Bob, stop it.
And you do have a jack and a lug wrench and a new tire in the boot or the trunk. Your degree is not going to change the tire and save your dumb ass.
Bob.
If you had a degree, you could call somebody to
Bob,
come out
that
and
is
change
so
your tire
pathetic.
for you and pay him.
The working class hero deal is just so old, Bob.
Yeah, you sit there and play with your cell phone. Oh, I've got no service on my cell phone. I'm going to die.
Man, my driver fixed my tire.
Did you hear that guy, Bob? He's going to have his driver fix his tire, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Oh, that's most. I said, if you, meaning by your lonesome.
The dog's out here causing hate and discontent.
I didn't hear that guy.
Good. I'm glad he doesn't hear me.
All right, there doesn't seem to be any educated hams on here today, so. I don't know.
There's not even an educated ham on here today when you're the only one that's talking.
You didn't want to go to school. You wanted to be working class, and you got what you deserved, which is not much.
Everybody's lesser than him.
You're going to get what you deserve.
There's not an educated ham on here when you're talking, Dog. You're really not as educated as you believe. You know, I think you pumped yourself up. I think you're in love with your own ego.
Bob, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the lowlifes that frequent here. The guys that are on here mostly are truckers, HVAC workers, people like that. These are non-professionals. They can't get real jobs. They scratch out a living however they can.
He's not a self-made man. He's a wife that made that man. And that's a fact.
I love the way these guys are threatened by kids that went to college. Kids that go to school, study after study after study, shows that the college graduate makes far more lifetime earnings than you duds that didn't go. You're scared of you.
A sad human being, that dog.
What are you going to have, an assets shooting match? Shoot out with your assets? You know, post all your financial worth, and you know, Dog, the man that dies for the most toys still dead?
Yeah, Bob, I'm not talking about the most toys. Income levels have everything to do with education, and education has everything to do with quality of life. You can pretend like it doesn't matter that you're ignorant, and many of the hams on here are ignorant, uneducated, and have low income. You can pretend that all you want, but the fact of the matter is income levels matter, as do education. Education matters. The children of the affluent and educated always do better than the ones that aren't. Bob, you're just out to lunch if you think it's about ego or narcissism. This is about quality of life for your family. This is about living. This is about being educated and understanding how the world works. Not living in the Rust Belt. Not living in West Virginia. This is for people that wanted to engage in a professional environment and raise children that also never doubted they were going to school. My son never doubted he was going to college. He never doubted he was going to graduate school. It was just understood. Bob, why did your kid leave town to go to work at some dump down the road? Because he's uneducated like his father.
Well, Dawg, you've never made a difference. You never were part of society for the collective whole. You never contributed much or nothing to society. I tell you, when I first started working for a living, when I was a bolt maker, making bolts, okay, at least when I went home in the evening and I went to bed at night, I felt good about it because I was contributing to society. I was making bolts for people to bolt cars together and bolt engines together. Without what I did, a lot of things wouldn't go in this world. Okay?
Bob, yeah, that's really great. Now Machine does it. We don't need your work, Bob.
You know, you take pictures of tragedies, you know, and you were the guy behind the camera that were making the talking head look good. And that's how you were.
Yeah, Bob. Now Machine does it, Bob. You don't know what you're talking about. Bob, have you ever spoken to a large group of people, or have you ever taught a class?
Bob, are you drunk?
What did you teach the class in? How to make bolts?
Bob, are you drunk?
Well, I tell you, without that skill and using that technology, how do you think your car would work? You don't have a clue. You know, you are the ignorant one professing your knowledge. You are ignorant.
I think Bob is drunk.
Bob, I didn't profess my knowledge. I said I prefer to talk to college-educated people. Most of my neighbors, if not all, are college graduates. College graduates live amongst each other, just like your working-class friends with their cars up on the front yard. They live with you. You chose to live that life, Bob, not me. I didn't tell you to do it.
There's nothing wrong with my lifestyle. It's all in your perception. Okay? First of all, the cars are in the front yard. They're on concrete. Okay?
Is your car jacks, Bob?
And they're in a shed. So, like a little pole barn thing. You know, and it's my hobby thing. I like to fiddle around with them. And if you say that you live with college graduates and intellectual elitists, and they're all around you, why do you degrade yourself by coming on here and talking on amateur radio? Why don't you shut it off, lock the door, and strike up a conversation with one of your intellectual elitist buddies?
He's enriching your life, Bob.
I come here and say, I only want to talk to a graduate brother. You know, we don't need that crap. We don't need you here either.
No, I understand, Bob. You don't need it. You want to live wallow in the stench of life that you created for yourself. I get it. But Bob, just because you have an undergraduate degree doesn't mean you're an intellectual elitist. That's where it's wrong. The college degree, the 4-year program now is about like high school was 50, 75 years ago. You don't understand anything about the world, Bob. You don't know anything about globalism. You don't know how the world works. You don't know anything about international trade. And it's not because you're stupid, Bob. It's because you want to remain ignorant. You want to be like
I believe he's a Hillary, baby.
Like Dan and others who think that, well, I got me common sense. Bob, I want you to go to Northrop Grumman, or I want you to go to Hewlett-Packard.
I believe he's a Hillary, baby.
I got me some common sense. They'll laugh you out the door, Bob.
The people that you just mentioned, those entities, they actually came to the factory that I was working at. They sent people. They're